When the internet began, bulletin board services, or BBS, became the first online communities of the so-called information superhighway. Using their phone lines, people logged in from all over America to talk about sports, games, movies, and on one BBS in particular, share their ghost stories. Over time, those communities all went dark, except for one lone server that continues to operate somewhere in an unknown part of Pennsylvania's Rust Belt. A relic of the 1990s, veiled in mystery, it is a digital archive of humanity's strangest encounters with the unknown, as told by the people who experienced them. My name is Brandon Schexnayder, and you are listening to Fear Daily.
Subject: Descarnado. User: Niner01. Posted July 14th, 1999.
Don't know how I do it, but I just keep getting lucky, and after last night, I'm pretty damn sure something is looking out for me because I definitely wouldn't be here if there ain't. I was holed up in a warehouse outside of Jacumba, just east of nowhere. Close enough to the border, you could taste the copper and diesel in the air. Used to be a military storage depot back in the Cold War days, but now it's just wind, dust, and rattlesnakes. No lights, no neighbors, just me, a couple cans of beans, a .38 snub I'd lifted off a junkie in Tucson, and of course, my sins. Wasn't like I had options. I'd burned too many bridges after all, rolled a dirty bail bondsman in Yuma, screwed over a gang in El Centro, boosted a cop's nephew's Jeep, and ditched it in the Salton Sea. My name was sour in a dozen precincts and half the desert, but I had time, distance, and an instinct for survival. Until last night. Around 10 p.m., I saw the lights crest the ridge. Just a soft blue flicker at first, like heat lightning. Then the telltale pop of gravel under tires and the thrum of engines crawling slow, methodical, like they were afraid they might spook me. Troopers, or maybe marshals. I don't know who tipped them off, but they weren't amateurs. No sirens, no shouting. Just a quiet circle tightening around the warehouse like a snake around a rabbit. I should have run, but I stayed still in the rafters, holding my breath and my pistol, thinking maybe I'd get one last miracle. And I sure as fuck did. Around 11, just before they breached, the wind died. Dead silence. Not even the crickets dared to chirp. One of the spotlights cut out, snapped like a blown fuse, and that's when I heard it. A sound I'll never forget. Not in this life, not in the next. Like meat being pulled apart, wet and slow. Someone screamed. Not a normal scream. This was a full-body panic, the kind that tears through a man's soul on its way out of his lungs. Then came the gunshots, one after another. Then a pause. Then boom. Something bigger. Maybe a shotgun or a breaching round. It didn't matter. Nothing stopped what came next. I watched from the rafters, shadows flickering across the broken skylight. At first, I thought it was a coyote, the way it moved. Low, fast, almost serpentine, but bigger, way bigger. It had too many limbs, joints bending in ways that snap a man in half. The thing skittered like a centipede, but stood tall like a man, its ribs exposed and glistening like a raw chicken skin, head more bone, than flesh, jaw too wide and full of what looked like fishhook teeth. There were no eyes, just black holes that drank in light. It was clearly hungry. I watched it grab a trooper and pull him apart like paper, just ripped him top from bottom. Blood sprayed the inside of the warehouse like someone took a pressure washer to a slaughterhouse. Another officer tried to run, and the thing spat something. This black glob of bile that hit his legs and fused his boots to the floor. Then it got him too, quick and quiet. Just a twitching mess on the concrete floor. I knew then this wasn't just luck. This was intervention. Something had picked me out of a lineup of scumbags and said, "Nah, not tonight." The rest of them didn't stand a chance. Radios crackled, screamed, but eventually went silent. One guy tried to drive out in a cruiser, but the monster beat him to it, left the car on its side, the driver's body still twitching under the front axle like a fly in a web. I climbed down from the rafters like I was sneaking past a sleeping bear, heart pounding so loud I figured it'd hear me. I stepped over intestines, bits of jaw, half a goddamn foot still in a boot, didn't look back. I couldn't, to be honest. Outside, everything was quiet again. The stars were too bright, the moon too still, and behind me, the warehouse pulsed like it was breathing. Something inside that wasn't done eating. I stole a cruiser and drove west, tires skidding over busted asphalt, radio still squawking with panic static. The border was not far, so I ditched the car near a closed gas station and started walking. I've been walking ever since. Don't know what I saw, and I sure as hell don't know why it let me go. Maybe it smelled the rot on me and figured I was kin. Maybe it likes that I'm a parasite, or maybe it just wasn't hungry enough.
Subject: the light's still on. User: Beal3v3R. Posted November 23, 1997.
People don't believe me when I say I still talk to my husband. Not in a he lives in my heart kind of way. I mean, really talk, out loud. Like he's just in the next room and I'm calling out to him while changing a diaper or digging a crayon out of the couch cushions. They always get this look in their eyes, polite concern, the kind reserved for people who are barely holding it together but mean well, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't believe me either. He died 3 years ago this December. Hit a patch of black ice on the bypass coming home from the plant. They said he was likely gone before the car even stopped spinning, and I hope they were right. God, I hope they were right. I can't let myself picture him trapped in that cab, scared, thinking about the lasagna waiting on the stove or the bedtime story he promised Rosie. The days that followed were like wading through tar. I had 2 kids who didn't understand why Daddy wasn't coming home, and a mortgage I could barely manage on my own. Charlie was 8, old enough to understand absence, but not the finality. Rosie was 5 and kept setting out cereal for him in the mornings. I let her for a while. It made her happy. Gave her something to do with her sadness. was maybe a week after the funeral when I first noticed it. I was in the kitchen, sobbing into a tea towel, trying to open a jar of marinara one-handed while holding the phone between my shoulder and ear. The lid wouldn't budge. Then, without so much as a twist, it popped off. I froze and whispered thank you, and that was the beginning. After that, it was the little things. The coffee maker, which I never could figure out after he passed, started turning on by itself at 6:30, the way he'd always started it before work. I thought it was a glitch until it brewed on days I forgot to prep it the night before. Light switches clicked off in empty rooms. The thermostat would nudge up a degree when the house got cold at night. The porch light, which I always forgot to flip on for him back when he worked late, stayed lit every night without fail. Even in storms, even when the power flickered. Now, I've never seen him. Not the way ghosts are supposed to show up. No shadowy figure at the end of the hall. No fog, no moaning chains. But I've felt him. When I'm up rocking Rosie through a fever, I swear I feel a hand on my back. When Charlie got pushed on the playground and came home sobbing, I heard a whisper behind me say, "He'll learn strength from this." It's never more than a sentence. Just a murmur in the ear, the way his voice used to sound when he talked low in bed with the kids already asleep between us. "You've got this. Breathe. Keep going." Always when I needed it most. I told my sister once, and she didn't know what to say. She told me it was grief talking, then I was projecting. Maybe I am. Maybe I need to believe he's still here. But if grief makes the thermostat fix itself and folds the laundry on the nights I break down, then I'll take it. Grief is strange like that. It doesn't leave, it just reshapes itself. Some mornings it's heavy, like trying to breathe with bricks on your chest. Other days it's a dull hum under everything, still there, but quieter. I've had both. The bad days do still come. Days where I lose my temper too easily. Days when Rosie asks questions I can't answer. Days when Charlie says he can't remember the sound of his dad's voice, and I have to leave the room before I fall apart. But even on those days, he's with me, in the way the rocking chair never creaks when I sit down to cry. And how the fuse box never trips anymore, in the sound of laughter when Rosie plays in the yard, her voice echoing off the fence just the way his used to. The house is full of him, his work boots still by the back door, his cologne bottle, long dried out, still sitting on the dresser. I keep his hoodie in the linen closet. Some nights I even wear it to bed. The sleeves hang long and smell faintly like cedar. I know I should probably pack it all away, but I can't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. People tell you that time heals, but I don't think that's true. Time just teaches you how to carry the weight differently. You get better at standing up under it. You grow calluses where the pain used to sting raw. And if you're lucky, you learn to hear the kindness that grief can offer, like a voice in the dark reminding you to keep going. Every morning, before the kids wake up and the day gets loud, I pour a cup of coffee and sit on the back steps. I say good morning to him still, and I tell him about the dreams I had, the bills I need to pay, and the stupid things the cat did. Sometimes I ask questions. Sometimes I get answers, and sometimes I just sit there in the quiet, the porch light still glowing beside me. He may not be here the way he used to be, but that porch light stays on.
Fear Daily is an independent podcast hosted by Brandon Schexnayder and written by Brennan Storr, with Joanna Smith serving as the consulting editor, audio production by Rachel Boyd, and sound design by Southern Gothic Media. This podcast is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents are either products of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or to real events or locations, is entirely coincidental. Ad-free versions of Fear Daily are available now on your favorite podcast apps. For more information, visit feardaily.com. But move fast, before the server goes offline.